SCORE Northeast Wisconsin and WHBY are pleased to bring you Biztalk, a chance for you to hear from entrepreneurs and professionals as they share their experiences. From starting to sustaining growth, learn the skills needed for your business to be successful. If you miss anything, you can catch the Biztalk podcast at score.org/Northeast Wisconsin. And now from the Myron Construction Studio, it's Biztalk on WHBY.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for listening to Biz Talk with SCORE on WHBY. I'm your host, Rick Sense, along with co-host Megan Mulholland today. Megan, how are you doing?
I am doing great. I'm glad the weather's cooled down a little bit.
Yes, it's been an interesting summer so far. It wasn't even summer, and then it was too much summer, and now it's hopefully settling into summer again.
Yes.
So with that, I'm very excited about today's program. I have a couple of guests today that I actually know a little bit in my professional world. And I'm just going to get right to that and introduce them. First up, we have Jenie Farrell, who is the director of the Engler Center for the Performing Arts in Chilton, Wisconsin. And also joining her is Jill Bailey, who's a board member with the Calumet County Community Theater. Jill, Jenie, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Rick, for having us.
Yeah, thank you, Rick.
So I'm just going to get right into the conversation here. The first question I guess I want to throw out there is, how do your organizations work together to elevate the arts scene in Calumet County? And maybe when you answer that, you can give just a little bit of background about what each of your organizations is.
Well, the Engler Center for the Performing Arts is a beautiful state-of-the-art performing arts center located right inside of Chilton High School in Chilton, Wisconsin. And every year our season, like the best rough draft that I can give you or summary that I can give you of our season is we host 3 school district musicals every year. So one at the elementary level, one at the middle school level, one at the high school level. We also host a high school student-led play production every year. Calumet County Community Theater hosts their annual summer production every summer with us. They start their production in April, March sometimes for auditions, and then they go through the middle of July. And then throughout there, we host several different events such as dance recitals. The private schools host their annual, holiday or Christmas productions. We host school concerts, and we also have businesses that use the facilities for meetings and such, as well as in-service and other events.
Jill?
Yep. And then I am part of the Calumet County Community Theater. And really, our mission and vision is just that we are obviously providing entertainment for the Calumet County, area, but also that we are fostering that public interest and opportunity for our local actors. And those that are just even interested in theater in general. We also want to showcase, the actors' artistic talent and ability and encourage that participation. And then we also want to make the community aware and find enjoyment in the theatrical experience that they have here within the Engler Center. So it was founded in 2003, so we've been around for a little while. I've only been on the board for the last 3 or 4 years. So I'm the freshman in that area, but the other ones have been around for a while. I've always been involved with it though, with my children growing up in the Chilton School District and our own family participation in the community theater. So it's nice to be part of the team.
That is a pretty long freshman year is all I have to say, 3 to 4 years.
Yeah. Well, when you talk about other people who have been part of it for 20 years, right?
Sure.
Right. So, yeah.
Well, can you maybe talk a little bit about how your organizations work together? And Jill, why don't you go ahead and start?
Well, it's been pretty amazing to see how Jenie and I have been able to collaborate just even on our common goals, of reaching the community through marketing and so forth. I love it that we can, that there's that new feature in social media that you can collaborate with another business so that it shows up on both of our feeds and so forth. I know for both of us, maybe we'd love to see that happen with more businesses outside of just our 2 missions here. But then also just even thinking about the scene shop, right? and how we collaborate and work together with the sets that we need and the costume rooms and so forth. So that's been really fun. And then obviously just the common goals of, the setup and ticket sales and so forth. Jenie is a great help for us in that area as well. So let's see if Jenie can add on.
Jenie, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, the Engler Center obviously provides a home where the performing arts can thrive. And so we provide that home to Calumet County Community Theater, and very proudly so. We have been doing that. They established themselves the first year that the center opened back in 2003, such as Jill said. And it is fun. It is a process that every year I work closely with the board to make sure that the facilities are available for them and to them for their auditions. And just making sure that, we have the outlet of working closely with our student base, right, in the district, in the school district, and trying to promote the arts beyond the district shows. It gives them a whole new experience, through the district shows. They work with us and the staff at the district, which is absolutely amazing. But then if they have the opportunity to work with the community theater, they get a whole new world and a whole new perspective, because they get to work with people who this is what they do for their livelihood, or they're doing it constantly. And they've been doing it for many years. So it just gives them a whole new perspective, and lease on the performing arts, basically. So, seeing that collaboration, encouragement is always warms my heart to see that extension beyond the school district.
So
how do you balance the artistic risk with the financial realities of running an arts organization, especially in, a small community like Chilton?
That can be difficult. Obviously being within a school district, we do have a set annual budget. So that is where I have to start as far as, the center goes as a whole. We do have a capital budget. It's constantly changing though, because just like the actual live performances, theater is constantly evolving with all the technology. So it is constantly maintaining that. So for our capital budget, we do rely partly on district funds, that are available. But there's only so much there. So beyond that, we rely heavily on sponsorships, on donations, but it is a lot of strategic budgeting. What do we already have in the space? What can be repurposed? We are like masters of repurposing, and reusing. The layers of paint that are on some of the set pieces, the number of times that one single costume has been transformed is numerous. So we always start there, like what can we reuse? And then from there we determine, what do we buy in lumber? What do we buy in paint? What's absolutely necessary to purchase? And then not only that, like just trying to figure out, like, do any other area theaters, including schools, have pieces that we can either rent or buy that are cost effective or more cost effective than making them ourselves. And a lot of times these days, it is. It used to be building and making everything from scratch was more cost effective, and it's just not the case a lot of the times now. Now, a lot of the times it is, looking for those resources, which also is helpful because not every theater then has frozen pieces sitting in their scene shop being unused for years until they're going to do it again. So, that is one way, but it can be tricky. It can be challenging. Sometimes the challenge is super frustrating at first. But then sometimes that also turns into something incredibly beautiful that you weren't even thinking like the direction was going to take you that way. And you're like, that was not my vision, but this vision is better. So
I'm just going to add on there that, I'm always thinking it from the lens, right, from the community theater. And when you talk about artistic risk, right, we often get a lot of inputs on specific shows that our actors are interested in doing, right? But we also need to balance with what does our audience and what is our community willing to come see, right? So I guess that's kind of how I interpret that as well. And also we do have to think about our production costs. For example, I think about often people want to see maybe Little Shop of Horrors, right? And you think about that large scale puppet and set that needs to come along with that plant that can eat people, right? And there's certain rules within the contracts, on sure we can make our own, but then you got to get it approved by the company. So then, or you can rent one, and how much does that rental cost to us? So there's that balance of, yes, we could take that artistic risk, right? But we gotta, would we kind of get some of that money back from the cost that would come into those types of sets and props and so forth. So yeah. And once again, do people want to come see it? Is it going to be too out there in regards to our artistic vision?
Jenny, you mentioned Frozen. Could you maybe give a little context to that? Why Frozen? What's happening with it? Is there something happening coming up in the future?
Yes, Calumet County Community Theater, as I stated before, it does an annual musical production every summer, and this year it is Frozen the Musical. That actually opens this Thursday, July 9th. So we have 6 shows in total. 4 of them are evening shows at 7 p.m. So the 7 p.m. shows would be July 9th and 10th and July 16th and 17th. Then we have 2 matinee shows. Those would be our Saturday shows, July 11th and July 18th at 1 p.m. Tickets can be purchased at www.englercenter.com. They are $13 in advance online. But if you wait, we should have tickets available. We cannot always promise that. We'd always love for there to not be any tickets available, at our, right before the shows begin, but there should be some tickets available at the door. Those are $2 more though. So you are taking that risk of having to pay a little bit more if you wait. Box office opens about 1 hour before each show. We do ask people to try to be in line about 15, no more or no less than 10 minutes before the show, just to make sure that we do get everybody through the door and seated so we can start on time. But it's really exciting. They've been working really, really hard, and it's hard to believe that we are already at showtime. Like it's always crazy how fast that goes.
Jill, from the production side, how's it going? Where's Frozen at this point?
Oh, it's going good. I mean, we are testing out it's our tech week, right? So we're testing out all of the special effects and our lighting, and everybody's getting into their full costumes this week in preparation for our opening night on Thursday. So it's always fun to see it all come together. And then the excitement rises, right, from all of our actors that are there. And, try to iron out all the little any concerns that we have and get all the nerves out beforehand. So
with that question, or that brings up a question when you're talking about the actors, like a lot of employers, you're trying to find employees to fill the ranks and whatever. Do you have regular go-to actors? Are you finding some coming out of, the woodwork that you didn't realize were actors or performers? I mean, how do you keep each performance being fresh and new with different employees, aka actors or performers?
Yeah, I've been surprised at actually how many new faces I get to see every year just from word of mouth and so forth. So, yes, we do have a lot of people that are continually coming back, right? But there's also certain people. I mean, we pull people from a wide range. It's impressive at how far people are driving to come be part of our shows, whether they're from Sheboygan. We have somebody from De Pere, Fond du Lac, Appleton, Wrightstown, New Holstein, Kiel, right? So it's a wide range. And so I do feel like social media has been really good to try to reach out, right, to different actors and actresses. Obviously, word of mouth is great because you have one person that's interested in the theater and that whole network of people, right? They all talk to each other. So, and they don't necessarily only be part of our community theater. They're part of other community theaters as well, depending on what the show is. So some of them have certain roles that they want to fulfill on their resume, right? For their acting resume. So then that's an attraction for them and so forth. And we also like to collaborate with our local choir teachers, right? To kind of get the word out to that age group and pull people in. And so you always get those upcoming actors and actresses that, right, are out there and they're looking to meet new people and have new experiences. So it's been pretty fun. It's a way to network too, right?
Rick, is it on your resume at all to do any acting in the local theater?
It has in the past, actually, but not currently. So, but we're going to take a break. Thank you for that great segue there, Megan. So I don't have to talk about that. We will be right back after these messages. You're listening to Biz Talk with Score on WHBY. Welcome back to Biz Talk with Score on WHBY. I'm Rick Sense, and with me today is Megan Mulholland, and we're having a great conversation with Jenie Farrell, director of the Engler Center for the Performing Arts in Chilton, and Jill Bailey, who's a board member with the Calumet County Community Theater. And we just got done hearing about their upcoming production, Disney's Frozen, and make sure you come to Chilton and check that out. But before we get into the conversation any further, I'd just like to take a moment to talk about SCORE. SCORE Northeast Wisconsin serves a 30-county area, primarily in northeastern Wisconsin. We have more than 30 volunteers, each an expert in their field, offering entrepreneurs no-cost and confidential mentoring. Those areas of expertise include IT, social media, marketing, cash flow, accounting, strategic planning, workflow, retail, best practices, and many, many others. In order to register for a no-cost confidential mentoring session and or to learn more about SCORE Northeast Wisconsin, please visit our website at score.org/WI/Northeast-Wisconsin. You can learn more about how the SCORE chapter can assist you with starting and or growing your business, and you can complete an application for a mentoring session. Simply complete the online form and submit it to SCORE. Within a few days, a SCORE mentor will be contacting you to set up a meeting. Remember, SCORE is no cost and offers experts who can offer assistance in many different areas. To get started, visit our website at score.org/WI/Northeast-Wisconsin. To support small business people, SCORE Northeast Wisconsin is always looking for new mentors. If you have experience that you would like to share with others, we would love to talk to you. We welcome volunteers with experience in all aspects of business. Small business owners need your help, and your experience can make a real difference to their success. Go to score.org/WI/Northeast-Wisconsin. Click on the volunteer button and fill out the short application, and we'll get back to you to explain more. And finally, this reminder about the Biz Talk with Score podcast. The Biz Talk with Score podcast brings the same real-world information and insights from experienced entrepreneurs and business leaders, just like Biz Talk with Score does on WHBY. However, the podcast is available when you are, so listen and subscribe. Available on most podcatchers and podcast apps. So thanks again for joining us on Biz Talk, and now back to you, Megan.
Thanks you very much, Rick. Really appreciate it. As you mentioned, this is Biz Talk, which means that we're talking to business leaders. And I know sometimes people maybe don't think about a theater as being a business, but you do. You have to run this as a business. So can you enlighten us and share a little bit about what the day-to-day business infrastructure looks like for the two of your organizations?
Sure, I can start. Most people obviously only see like show nights. So they see from the front of the house what we're putting on in that final package. But behind every performance is many, many months of planning, from picking out the production that you're going to do, which that takes, rounds and rounds of conversations. Sometimes debates, but here at the Engler Center, constantly coordinating calendars to make sure everything can work it's like a puzzle piece. Managing contracts, maintaining the building, preparing technical equipment, scheduling staff, or in this case, volunteers, supporting those volunteers, overseeing the ticketing sales, and making sure that every visiting organization has what they need to succeed. In many ways, like you said, it is like running a small business. It just so happens to produce live performing entertainment for everyday purposes.
So how do you
in regards?
Oh, go ahead, Jill. Sorry.
Oh, all good. I was just thinking in regards to the community theater. Obviously, we collaborate and work with Jenie a lot with this in regards to the calendar, right, and so forth. And for us as a nonprofit board, once we finish our show season in August and September, we're already talking about the next year, right? And so once again, trying to survey our participants to see, what they're interested in being part of. for the upcoming season, and then having our group together to kind of narrow that down. Sometimes we pick it as a board, and sometimes we narrow it down to a couple, so that when we're doing our director interviews, the directors can kind of give input on which show, kind of give them a few that they can pick from and so forth. But yeah, I mean, it's really, kind of once we get past that and we get into our production season, we find our choreographers and our directors and stage managers and music directors and so forth. And then it's coordinating all those people together, right? As Jenny's shaking her head, like, yes, right. That coordination. And then even with the calendar is a big part too. Obviously to break apart when you're going to do everything, but, and then just getting the show is a whole process, right? And getting the approval, because there's all these factors on, like, if it's on Broadway, then maybe community theaters can't, they don't have access to the rights to those shows. Or if there's another theater doing the show within a certain mile radius, that would eliminate us from a possibility of doing a show. Not everybody realizes that there's, it's understandable why they have those in place, right? Because you don't want two neighboring communities to do the same show within the same year. Kind of spreads out the love all over, right? But yeah, it's, and then we have our board roles. So, I focus a lot on trying to do the day-to-day, some of the background work with one of my other board members, Brian Bartles, with the website, right? And keeping that up to date, and social media and so forth. So we kind of break out into our strengths. Some have strengths in tech, some have strengths in set and costumes and so forth. So, coordination with all that and the budgets. Yeah, it's pretty impressive what everybody can pull together.
I think we're going to take our second break. You're listening to Biztalk with Score on WHBY, and we'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back to Biztalk with Score on WHBY. I'm Rick Sense, along with Megan Mulholland, and we are having a great conversation this morning with Jenie Farrell, who is the director of the Engler Center for the Performing Arts in Chilton, and with Jill Bailey, who's a board member for Calumet County Community Theater. And I guess I'm just going to get back right into the conversation and start off by, marketing is such an important piece to theater, as far as if you don't tell people about what you're doing, no one's going to show up to see what you're doing, right? So can you maybe walk listeners through some of the digital marketing strategies that you're currently using that are giving you the best return on investment? And I guess, Jill, I'll start with you on this one.
Sounds good. First, I do want to give a shout out to Jenny, because since she's been part of our team, she has really taken our marketing up to the next level. So I just thank you for that, Jenny. You've been doing an awesome job on that. For the community theater, like I've said before, we've been collaborating, but really I have been trying to focus more on finding what's working best for the algorithm within digital marketing. We kind of focus in on two platforms of Facebook and Instagram. And I'm trying to attract, on Instagram, more of that demographic that is in the 20-year-old, right? The 30-year-old range. I feel like that age range, right, is more on that platform. But then Facebook is also great because that's where we bring a lot of our alumni, and we use that for communicating with our production team and so forth, and our actors during a production. So we kind of pull them in there. But also we want to reach all those people that aren't part of the production, right? So that's where we try to balance that storytelling, right? A little bit more of like behind the scenes and what's happening. It's difficult for me because we only have the summer production, right? So when I think about our content, it's, when you think about, right, we're just getting into costumes. So if I want to have that type of content that actually shows what we're doing right now, I've got like a 3-week window to kind of grab that content to get it out there. So how do I create things outside of that to create engagement for the rest of the year? I know for me, I'm like, I would like to bring a little bit more behind the scenes with our board business, right? Because I'd also like to attract community members into seeing what we do and how we bring value to it and to our community, and maybe make people think like, oh, I want to be part of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of that I just think about pulling into that. I mean, obviously I want to use it to sell tickets too, but there's still that, they say there's like an 80-20 balance on that with your storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
But then also with the ticket sales. So.
Yeah. And just kind of go off of that. It's like more about the story, than it is about advertisement, and that just kind of, helps you build your base, build your interest, and then hopefully does build those ticket sales too, in the end. But same thing, it's thinking about out of the box of just not about purchase your tickets, but it's like, here tonight at rehearsal, we worked on this, or check out how our cast bonded tonight, get your tickets, set building. This past year, I even started to post like, fast forward, like basically videos of like putting up our concert diva shell, which is our acoustical shell, that comes in for concerts, choir and band concerts, to help like the sound really get out to the audience, so our curtains and everything don't absorb it all. So putting that up is quite interesting, because that's stuff that people don't see. They just come in and they see it up, but they don't really see it getting put up. So seeing those time lapses, something like that, just to draw people in, and curiosity, I guess, because when you draw in curiosity, then people want to know more and find out more. So it's all the same things that Jill just talked about. It can be hard and it can be tricky, because sometimes you think you understand the algorithm, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, that didn't work like it did for that show. So it's just kind of watching those numbers, those clicks. I know I really want to get into like email digital campaigns. I started with a new ticketing platform a handful of years ago after COVID. So I feel like that base is there now, that we should be able to start doing that this coming season, and really pushing that stuff out. So it's really about the storytelling though, when it really comes down to it.
Well, and then we still have that challenge too, where we're still trying to reach people who are also not on social media.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you balance that?
So.
You've got the new media, social media world, but how do you balance with the traditional marketing world?
Well, for us, I know we, think about, okay, obviously we have our local paper, right? And so we always invite them to come in, and they're so great about taking photos for us, and writing up a story so that we can reach those people in the community that are not online. And I'm just going to add a little story here, because I was at the State Bank of Chilton last week, and Janet, our photographer with the newspaper, was there, and she didn't even realize that I was standing there on the side, and I just witnessed her go up to somebody else at the counter and say, oh, do you have tickets to go see Frozen at the community theater show? And she's like, it's so great. I got to see a little tidbits about it. And she was raving about how talented our leads were and so forth. And, and then I just had to interject and say, thank you. That's great to hear, just organically out in the community, right? Yeah. So maybe we need to have a few more previews for people to get the word out, but.
Right. Yeah. I would like to, second that. Janet is great, comes in for all of our district shows, and obviously for community theater too as well, and writes those articles, takes those pictures. That is always incredibly helpful, because as Jill said, not everybody is going to see our digital marketing campaigns or our social media advertisements. But it can be tricky. But I think the paper honestly does a lot for us with that, and even people who are on social media, because there's a million things that are on our walls every day on social media. So there's a lot of times people don't catch those things, and then they're looking at their paper and they're like, oh, I didn't know about it. So, very grateful for that. As Jill said, word of mouth is huge. It is something that, at the district level, at the school age levels, we really, really push, of letting the kids know, like, this is your show. I might be the Performing Arts Center director and I can do what I can, but people aren't coming to watch me on the stage because I'm not on the stage. They're coming to watch you on the stage. So encouraging that and getting children to understand, like, you are part of helping this show, grow and be successful. So word of mouth, because people are coming to watch you. And you've got to make it exciting and tell your neighbors, go to the bank and tell them all about it. Go to the grocery store, tell them all about it. Don't be shy, tell your friends, even if you think they're not going to come, just tell them, because maybe they won't go, but their mom might go, or, a friend of the friend might go. So, word of mouth is a huge strategy, I know, on our part on the school district side, of just own your show and tell people about it.
Mm-hmm. And then we also do some printed posters that we ask local businesses to hang up inside of, and we are so appreciative of their support with that. I know for this season, we just did some even yard signs, right? That we could try to get out on the main street where there's high traffic areas. And then I know Jenny has a great large display with vinyl that we put up. It's in kind of over by the car wash and Walmart entrance. And then we have one in front of the school. So try to hit those avenues of people just passing by, right? That they can see it. And then also grateful for our little segment that we have in the Travel Calumet brochure for this year. So hopefully people see it, right? Out and about, and decide that they want to come see a show while they're in the area camping, or on one of their other adventures. Hopefully they can fit us in.
So little did Janet know that she was a Chilton influencer.
Yes.
So how do you use audience feedback, or data or surveys to decide your next program, your next show, your next event?
Well, we're constantly learning about what resonates with the audiences. That is, like I said, it can be challenging, because once you think you understand what your audience wants, it changes. And that variable is dependent on each show too, as well. So you might get feedback for like a youth show that's going to be completely different for community theater. And even if community theater is doing a, more kids directed show, it can be very different from the district. So we do use audience feedback, of course. And looking at the data, I know that's one thing that's wonderful about social media these days, is that it's literally all there for you, that it's just a couple clicks away and you can look at what's working, what's not working for individual shows. So for me, it's very independent per level of show. So what works for the elementary show might not work for the middle school, and might work for the high school, but maybe not. And sometimes it even, as Jill referred to before, it's show dependent too as well. So it's just taking that data and surveys and just asking, it is incredibly valuable to making future decisions. But also there are some times that we just have to make decisions based off of what we do know, from the past, and make our best guess, on what's going to help for this year or this show.
So I have to ask, I have the good fortune of having been to the Engler Center. And it's in Chilton, Wisconsin. So a lot of people and it's inside of a high school. So people automatically think, oh, it's just your typical, auditorium inside of a high school. And now I can tell listeners it is far, far from that. And maybe, Jenny, if you could just spend a few moments talking about the level that the Engler Center for the Performing Arts is on compared to other venues in the area, in the marketplace, in the region, in the Midwest.
Yeah, our facilities are honestly, there is nothing to compare when it comes to a high school theater. It rivals professional theaters, honestly. As far as space and as far as technology goes. So we have 735 seats. Standard in schools is about 500, 600 seats. So we do have that capability of seating more people for shows and events. But in addition to that, we have our whole fly system, counterweight fly system, where we can bring sets up and down and operating, and our kids get to learn on that, about the safety of it, how it operates. It's just a simple pulley system, but it does so much, and it's very important. We have lighting that is just remarkable. We have two amazing volunteers that honestly, I don't know what I would do without them. They are alumni of Chilton High School, and they come back and they give their time to the center because they believe in what it does for our youth and for community theater and for our surrounding area and the businesses in the area. And they help me with technology and just making sure that everything is up to date with our donor dollars or our sponsor dollars and grants. And so this past year, I know we redid a whole bunch of our sound. We got a new soundboard. I got so many compliments. We've always had great sound, but this past year, so many compliments on how full the sound is in the entire center. There is not a bad seat in the house when it comes to sound at all. And I would even say that there is not a bad seat in there as far as visual goes too. Sometimes you get like a blind spot in a theater, but we don't really have that in the Engler Center. That was very, very thought out way long before I was there when the planning process of designing the space came into play. But I would challenge anybody who would say that their theater is comparable to ours because we really do have access to beautiful, just everything, just beautiful space, beautiful technology, and then the people who love it and take care of it and volunteer and give the time.
Jill, I would assume being a performer and representing those that are part of the community theater group, that's something special to you to be out on the stage that is really rivals the PAC and other facilities across the Midwest. How does that feel when you're out? Yeah, how does that feel when you're out on stage performing?
Yeah, I mean, I actually just had a childhood friend that came in and helped me paint, and I gave her a little tour of it, and she was like, wow, it's so unexpected, and she was very impressed. But yeah, it's wonderful. And like I said, I had children that grew up in the school district, and I feel like has been having that type of facility for them to grow up with has been super impactful for them in their careers. I now, my children are all adults and, in the college age, and my oldest actually, got a job with journalism and, recently with one of our local news station. And it was interesting that when he was getting to know people there, he said, he goes, it was crazy. All of us have some connection somehow to the performing arts, right? Even like the producer, right? That they maybe grew up doing that as well in high school or they're on the stage. So, I just really feel like having that type of facility, for us is just really, really fostered them into adulthood as well, whether it's through their communication skills, right? And their confidence, and what they bring to the workforce in that way, and see them like find their success. And I'm just super grateful to the Engler family and, for creating this opportunity, for our kids within the school district and also for our community, because the community theater has been there since day one as well. So it's just really awesome. I mean, I'm a ticket holder with the PAC as well. So I really enjoy going to the theater productions as well. And it is really awesome to be there and be like, yeah, like I know what that looks like behind there because we have something similar. So it's been really cool to be part of. So, I mean, I've run the flies as well, pulling sets in and out, and it's fun. It's really fun to do. So I encourage people to come check it out. And, you don't always have to be on stage. You can do fun things backstage too. So,
yeah, I encourage people, if you would like to take a tour, with your group, reach out to me and I would be happy to set that up. That's actually one of the most fun things that I do, is to give tours of the space because I like showing it off and all the work that people have put into it. Like Jill said, the Engler family that, all of this started from years ago. So grateful to them to have this space, and then all the people who have supported it along the ways, whether that's financially or through volunteer hours, is just invaluable. And I know the other thing too, to elaborate on what Jill was saying, just we have so many kids that have gone out and made careers, maybe not specifically in the performing arts, but it has helped them in some way, shape, or form, regardless of what field they go into. And that could be something like, they were shy in school and then they did theater and they got a little more confident with speaking, and maybe speaking is still terrifying to them. I am one of those people. Speaking is still terrifying to me, But I do believe heavily that performing arts, for people like myself, and other kids who struggle with that, like it just helps you learn how to be a speaker and how to be a little bit more confident with that, even if it absolutely still terrifies you. So it's just, that's going to help you in no matter what field of work you go into.
All right. And with that, we're going to take our final break. You're listening to Biz Talk with SCORE on WHBY, and we'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back to Biz Talk with SCORE on WHBY. I'm Rick Sense, along with Megan Mulholland this weekend. And we are talking with Jenie Farrell, director of the Engler Center for the Performing Arts, and with Jill Bailey, who is a board member with the Calumet County Community Theater Group. And we're going to get back to our conversation in just a moment. But first, I'd like to talk to you about our sponsors and their generous support of Biz Talk. Hailing & Associates helps small businesses and individuals not just prepare tax returns, but plan for the future. Hailing & Associates, personal connection, positive results. Wherever you are in life or the life of your business, Johnson Financial Group works to match the banking and wealth services needed to help you complete your mission. Thank you to the Business News for promoting our program in the bi-weekly business newspaper serving Northeast Wisconsin with the latest business news and topics for the region. We are grateful to the support of Community First Credit Union, and at its core, Community First Credit Union is a community of member owners where people work together to improve their financial well-being and help one another. The New North facilitates economic growth and helps people in this region live their best lives. Since 1919, Baird has guided families through investment, trust, estate, and tax planning advice. So, no matter what the future brings, you can be confident you're ready, because your family is Baird's focus. So thanks again to our sponsors. And Jenie and Jill, if you could both just, Jenie, if you go first, can you get information to listeners of how they can get in touch with you and with the Engler Center?
Of course. So if anybody's interested in volunteering or would like to know how to donate, whether that's financially, hours, or you have something that might work for a costume, you can always email me. It will always be the best option, which is farrellj@chiltonsd.org. Otherwise, you can call my office at 920-849-2880. But you can also visit our website with all the information, which is going to be englercenter.com.
And Jill?
Yes, I would say that the best way to keep in contact with us is through our website, which is myccct.com. We do have our contact email there on our About page. And also, I would encourage everybody to follow us on social media, the Calumet County Community Theater on Facebook, and also on Instagram, Calumet County Community Theater. You can always kind of keep up to date with what is going on in real time. Yeah. And then I would also encourage everybody to come see the show. Our opening night is this Thursday night on July 9th. So Thursday and Friday night, we have a show at 7 p.m. And again, the following Thursday and Friday night, July 16th and 17th at 7 p.m. And then we also have 2 matinee shows on the Saturdays, July 11th and July 18th at 1 p.m. So yeah, if you come near and far to come see the magic, right, of the sisterly love between Elsa and Anna, and you know, if you need to beat the heat, you know, come see our little ice kingdom here inside the Engler Center for the Performing Arts. We welcome you. We'll keep it cool for you. So, Jenie, you got to help me with that.
Yes, yeah. We'll keep it cool so it all feels like we're all involved.
Yes.
So I guess I have to just ask one final question of you each. And Jenie, I'll start with you. Are you having fun?
I absolutely am having fun. I'm having fun being here with you guys, but also I am so grateful for this opportunity to work in a space that is just so beautiful, and not just that, it's well supported. The performing arts are very, very well supported in our community throughout. And yes, that just makes me have fun. I love working with kids, and I love seeing those smiles on their faces.
Jill, are you having fun?
I definitely am. I love collaborating with our community. So I appreciate that we're all on the same team. So go Calumet County.
All right. Well, you've been listening to Jenie Farrell, director of the Engler Center for the Performing Arts, and Jill Bailey, who is board member at Calumet County Community Theater. And thank you both for being our guests this morning. I know Megan and I, speaking for Megan, I think it's been a great program. And looking forward to seeing Disney's Frozen, and make sure to get out to Chilton to do that, all your listeners. So again, you've been listening to Biztalk with Score. Thanks for listening. We'll be back again next week, Saturday. Take care.